Hey guys, Attorney Brent Boyer from Adam again. So let's talk divorce. I want to talk today about a topic that comes up quite a bit with questions from divorce clients. What can I expect to happen at mediation? What's going to go on at my divorce mediation? So, mediation comes up a lot through divorce cases, alternative dispute resolution, ways to resolve things through settlement. The reality, first of all, is that 98% of all divorce cases end up settled out of court. So if that many cases are going to get settled and are not going to be going to trial, if you're only going to have like 2% of cases in your typical county that are going to go to a divorce trial, then how does that work? How do these settlement agreements, how do you get to that point? How do you work and resolve everything and get a settlement in your divorce case? So, don't forget to like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed. That would help us out. But yeah, mediation and talking about mediation. So mediation won't happen in every divorce case. First of all, there's certainly divorces where it's not needed. You might be able to reach an agreement without even going to mediation. It can be part of the process. It might not be. You can get to a point where a court could require you to do mediation and wants you to try to go ahead and settle things in your case before they would even consider starting a trial or scheduling a trial. So mediation can be part of your process. It's not part of every divorce case. Sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes it's not going to be effective or possible. That's also the case. But in general, if you're looking at how a divorce case proceeds, what the timeline is going to be, what to expect, and kind of the step-by-step process, a divorce case gets filed, the other person has to be served with papers. They then have 21, 28 days to respond, whatever it is, depending on how they're served. So you got those first couple months where there's not a lot going on yet. You're still in this initial stage of the divorce case, exchanging information. With divorces, there's a requirement to do a verified financial information form. So both of you are filling those out and getting that all done. And you're working with your attorney. Your wife would work with her own attorney on what information we need. Everybody kind of needs the same information. So once we've done that, we would certainly take a closer look at, okay, what do we have here? What's in dispute? Are there kids? What are the issues? Is there custody, parenting time, child support type of disagreements, or is some of that worked out? Are there disagreements about the house, or what's going to go on with the house, or retirement accounts, or savings, or investments, or debt, or whatever it might be? Vehicles, boats, RVs, whatever we're dealing with through your divorce case. And we want to take a look at, okay, what do we agree on? First of all, are there agreements? And we want to narrow it down from there. But if you get to a point where there are some things that you just don't agree on, you're not going to be able to really work out. But it looks like you could work it out without some assistance. You would look at doing mediation. Now, mediation normally is going to be hiring an attorney. So you hire someone who works as a private attorney but does mediation. There are some that do, all they do is mediation. There are some who do some mediation and handle some divorce cases themselves. There's all different kinds. So in general, you're going to hire somebody that's experienced, that does a lot of mediating, and they know what to do and how to do it. There's classes they take, there's training they maybe have taken, they've done lots of other mediations, and that's the type of person you want. So between your attorney, your wife's attorney, they agree on who they're going to use as a mediator, and then you get that scheduled. So that process, at that point, you would work with your attorney to get prepared for mediation. You'd know ahead of time, we got this mediation date that's 6 weeks from now, so we want to get ready. You'd want to make sure you know, narrow down the issues. First of all, is step one. You want to look at what do we agree on, what do we disagree on, narrow some of that down. That's a good start. And then, step two is looking at values of things. If there's a house, we want to make sure that either we agree on the value or we have an appraisal. Or if there's a mortgage, we want to have that document with us ready for mediation. We know exactly how much is owed on the mortgage and what the deal is. If there's a plan for one of you to keep the house, refinance, remove the other person from the mortgage, we want to know that that's possible. That person wants, a mortgage approval letter prior to the mediation. So you want to do that, and you want to look, same thing with other statements. If there's retirement accounts, we want statements on current balances on them. We want to know what type of account it is. If there's savings, investments, same deal. If there are discussions of something that might be premarital property or separate property as opposed to marital property, we want to be ready with those discussions, those arguments ahead of time. If I got something I inherited from my grandmother and I'm trying to keep separate in my divorce case, I want to have the details on that, and I want to have it narrowed down what my reasons are for why I should be keeping that item or that bank account or whatever it might be. And you want to know what all that looks like. You want to know, what do we have, and what do we own, and what is it worth? What are the values? What are the debts? How much do we owe? Who's on the debt? If there's credit card debt that's not paid off, we want to know who is responsible. Who's the credit card debt? Who's that name in? Whose Visa is that name in? Who's an authorized user, and therefore who's going to be responsible for those cards. So you want to gather all that information prior to mediation, and then from there you would do a mediation statement. So between you and your attorney, you'd write up a summary of kind of, here's what we got, here's what the story is, how long we're married, and what happened, and what the deal is, and where we are on all these issues in your divorce case. And you want to be, and basically you submit that to the mediator ahead of time. Now they have a summary, they have some background, some history, some information on exactly what's going on with your particular divorce case and what to expect ahead of time. And then comes the day of mediation, where you meet with a mediator, and they go over things with you and your attorney, and they go over things with your wife and her attorney, and they help narrow down what the issues are. Here's what we agree on, here's what we don't. And then they hear both of you out. Where are you at on things? If there's a dispute about who's going to keep the house, they look at the pros and cons of that with you and what that's going to look like. If there's a dispute about how much child support should be, they help you run some numbers and look at those numbers. If there's a dispute about parenting time schedule, they give you some ideas on, and they hear you out on what your schedule is and what your wife's schedule is and where you guys agree and what they can do to help sort all that out. So they just go step by step through the process. They do not make decisions, and they do not have any authority to decide things for you. So they're just listening to you, listening to your wife, trying to get you together. After a few hours, if it's been done right, you can probably be done and have an agreement. Sometimes there's more than one mediation session. That could be, that's not unusual. As long as we feel like we're making progress and that's going to be useful, you could do that. 1 or 2 mediation sessions is going to be worth the time and the expense, as opposed to being stuck doing a trial or some other type of way to resolve things. So that's the general idea of divorce mediation, what to expect, what it looks like, what you need to do to prepare for it, and I hope that helps. Thanks.